After profound peace and blessings, this is Derric More, and just got finished watching a few videos regarding the Brother Polight situation, and I mean, what can you say? You know, first of all, I'm gonna try to respond to this, and the reason why I'm responding is mainly because I've had some people that have hit me up and they were asking, what's my point of view? What do I think about the whole thing? And I want to try to respond by not making this a rant. But I want us to learn from this situation. I want us to kind of, look at this situation and ask ourselves, why do we keep getting into this same situation? Why do our folks keep following these individuals just because they can say stuff, because they say something and they are able to move the crowd, Why do our folks keep responding to stuff like that? Why do our folks keep getting caught up in this same thing? So, I said this before, okay? I've said this before. Any man, all right, any man who is serious about it, and I'm gonna go a little bit further. Any black man who's serious about their family, who's serious about their community, who's serious about, the people, anybody who's serious about that, there's always three things that they always try to watch out for. And I've stated this before. 3 things. Those 3 things are sex, money, and drugs. All right? I've said this before. If you go back far enough into history, okay, and the first time I peeped this was probably about the 60s or so, during the Civil Rights Movement. What was it? Sex, money, and drugs. It's always the same thing that kills the movement. Now, real men basically, they don't deal with that kind of stuff. In fact, real men, when they see a young man who has potential, they'll tell them, hey, stay away from these 3 things: sex, money, and drugs. Okay? If they see you messing around with some individual who is involved in that, they're going to tell you, hey, that's what real men do. They say stay away from that. Okay? So this is, like I said, it's the same thing that is basically, it destroys. They're the same 3 things that destroy a movement. They're the same 3 things that destroy an individual. They will break an individual. Okay? And this is the reason why we stay away from it. Okay? Now, let me say this. Not only is this the reason why we stay away from it, because it's the wrong thing and all that kind of stuff, but this really is the whole purpose of us, of men. It's really one of the main reasons why men are involved in spiritual culture. So that you can learn to develop the strength, the fortitude, the integrity, the stability, and everything that comes along with the whole spiritual development. The whole purpose of you doing all that is to avoid these things. It helps you to avoid those things. Okay? It helps you to avoid those trappings. And I mean, it's like this whole the whole situation that gets me is that, I don't know all the allegations and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what happened. I don't know all the details, okay? What I do know is that, what was it, probably a couple of weeks ago or maybe a month or so ago, Brother Young Pharaoh was involved in something, Dr. Umar Johnson has always been involved in something, And it's the same recurring theme. It's the same recurring theme. And we can trace this all the way back to, we can go back as far as, to Dr. York, all right? And we can go even further, okay? We can talk about the whole Black Panther movement. We can talk about how, the leaders of some of the leaders in that movement, how, same thing. Sex, money, and drugs. Okay? Now, I get it. I get why some people will go ahead and, they get into this. They hear these individuals and they're just so inspired by them, they're motivated by them because they got the gift of gab. I got it. Okay. But if you're involved in anything spiritual, you're involved in a spiritual tradition, spiritual culture, you're trying to go ahead and develop yourself spiritually, what you really need to do is go ahead and get an oracle system. Okay? There's only a couple of times in which I went ahead and I was dealing with an individual, or I was, I've heard this individual, and this individual was spitting some mad science, everything they were saying, it sounded just, it was great sounding. It was just phenomenal what they were saying. But then I remember, I went ahead and I got an oracle and was like, went ahead and threw my shells. After I threw my shells, it was like, the oracle was like, don't go for it. Don't fall for it. And sure enough, as soon as I went ahead and I did that oracle reading, not too long afterwards, that individual ended up falling on their face. She ended up finding out they was a phony. Okay? So I'm telling you, fam, get an oracle. Get an oracle system. Okay? I got about 3 different oracles. That's what I use. Got about 3 different oracles. And that's how I go ahead, every time I do something, for the most part, every major decision I try to make, I'm throwing shells, pulling cards, I'm doing something, throwing some sticks, or coins rather. I'm doing it all because I'm like, I'm not trying to. My time and energy is too precious. I don't have time to sit around here and give my energy to an individual or any individual or group who claims and alleges that this is what they're about. And then you find out later, they're phonies. We don't have time for that. Okay? Now, the other thing that regarding this whole situation, the other thing, and this is what, Spirits was basically telling me, was this right here. And first of all, let me go ahead. Before I went ahead and I started doing videos, there was this brother, I believe, I can't remember the brother's name, but I think his channel was called the Melanie Order or the Melanite Order or something like that. And this brother, this brother was gifted. He had some real good science. He was doing the astral planing, the astral thing and everything. And I remember before I went ahead and before I started doing videos and everything, I watched this brother's video. And the reason why is because, people have been telling me, they've been saying, Derric, Raku, man, you need to go ahead, you need to do some videos. And for the most part, I didn't want to do the videos. And the reason why is because it was, these brothers out here, Brother Polight, and, Brother Young, like I said, I don't have nothing against them or anything, but I'm just saying, these individuals, when I saw them, and I'm not knocking them or anything, I'm just saying, when I saw these individuals and they was out here and, they're debating on what the Kemetic thing is and they're debating each other and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, I didn't want to be associated with that. I didn't want anything that I was dealing with. I didn't want to be anywhere near that. Okay. And that was really the reason why I was really very, 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 reluctant. I really was very hesitant about even doing videos because I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. Okay. I don't want to be associated with that. And, but I was watching this brother's video. Like I said, I think it's called the Melanie Order or something like that. So I'm watching the brother's videos and everything. And I remember, he was talking, this brother was talking about how, he was speaking with the spirits, he was talking to the ancestors and so forth and so on. And And as I'm watching the video, he mentioned something. He said, you're going to see individuals that are all into this whole thing. They're talking all this, all this stuff about what they into and all that, they're doing all this debating and all this other kind of nonsense. They're going to fall. Okay. And I can't remember what the name of the video is, but like I said, I'm telling you, the brother prophesied it. All right. He said they're going to fall because the ancestors, the spirits, they're tired of that kind of nonsense. And you're going to start seeing some new stuff. You're going to start seeing new individuals. You're going to start seeing some new stuff come up because it's time. And it was because of that video, that's what inspired me to actually start making videos. That was one of the videos that really inspired me to start making videos. Because prior to that, like I said, I was cool with just doing the blog and all that kind of stuff. Because like I said, it was therapeutic for me. But when I saw this brother's video, I was like, yeah, let me go in here. Let me start doing this. Let me start doing these videos because it's time. Okay. So, like I said, the brother prophesied it, and here it is, okay? And like I said, what was it? About a couple of weeks ago or so, Brother Young Pharaoh was involved in something. Not too long ago, Dr. Umar Johnson, he was also involved in something. And what the spirits are basically, what they're telling me, what my ancestors are telling me, is this right here. My brother S. Ali, he was the other brother that went ahead and inspired me and encouraged me to go ahead and get out there and start making videos. But there was something that Brother S. Ali said. Excuse me. One of the things he said that, my ancestors, the spirits are telling me to go ahead and, send out to you is this. Everybody who's watching these channels, everybody who's watching these things, and you're all about the whole ancestor work and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, Brother S. Ali said, you're an ambassador. We are ambassadors for our family line. There is no one in my family that I know of who's honoring my ancestors. Okay, who's honoring my ancestral line, who is trying to strengthen and enlighten and elevate my ancestral line. There ain't nobody else doing that except for me. And if you're watching this video and you're watching any of these videos that's dealing with anything regarding ancestor work, it's the same thing. Okay? You're an ambassador. So what that means is there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And with that responsibility, you got a lot of ancestral spirits who are dependent upon you. Okay? That's the reason why we're going through this. That's the reason why we have to go through, we're going through all this, the crawling through the mud and all this other kind of stuff. That's the reason why we're doing this. So when you come across an individual or you come across somebody who's basically they're playing around with this, okay? And you got to understand, and you're the ambassador. You're supposed to be the ambassador. And they're playing around with, for instance, your ancestors' livelihood, okay? Here it is, your ancestors are sitting up here and they're dependent upon this. They're waiting. They're waiting to get their, waiting to get some offerings in and anything to elevate them. And you got an individual who's playing around. They don't take too lightly to that. Okay? They don't take too lightly to that. God might go ahead and, be forgiving. Okay, the divine may be forgiving. You go ahead and you do some things, and God, being omnipotent and omniscient, will say, "Oh, okay, yeah, hey, I got you, because I know where you came from, and I know this." Jesus, if you into that, might be forgiven. might be forgiving you of that. Your ancestors ain't like that. Okay, your ancestors, your ancestors, you got to remember, they the same people that was here, before you got here. If you were not about that, why would they be about that? Okay, so they're not forgiving like that. So when I see situations like this that's going on, that's what that is. That's them ancestors. That's them spirits going in here, and they like, they basically they they coming for you, okay? Because this is nothing to play around about. This is nothing to play around with. They understand. Our ancestors understand, just like you do. The reason why you're involved in this whole spiritual thing is because you are tired of this plane of existence. I mean, aren't you tired of hearing this same old rhetoric? Aren't you tired of going ahead and trying to see, trying to elevate folks and they just ain't going to do nothing? Ain't you tired of walking around and you the only one that seem to know what's going on and nobody else does? Ain't you tired of that? Ain't you tired of turning on the news and watching TV and every time you see something, they're talking about somebody else getting beat down or whatever? Ain't you tired of that? They are too. And that's why they're here with you. That's why they're here trying to go ahead and elevate. They want us to elevate them so that we can go ahead and we can get out of this situation. So when you got individuals who are playing around with this, you got individuals who are playing around with this spirituality thing, they're not taking it serious. They all about that whole intellect, they all about that debating. They all about, we about the science, but they ain't about applying it. They're not liking that. So this is what happens. Okay. So, like I said, I apologize. I wasn't trying to turn this into a rant or anything. I just really wanted to go ahead and put that out there, because we need to stop falling for this same trick bag. Okay. So that being said, like I said before, if you got any comments, you got any questions or so, hit me up. Hit me up. Again, thanks again for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Okay. Until next time. Peace.